we're in the hole, and they're saying, okay, well, that's about it for you guys. This is 1974. They said, that's it. We're just tired of you guys. So they're prosecuting us to send us into the feds. We're fighting it and all that. So back at that time, that's when I got that case. And other guys, we had a lot of dope back in there in the hole at the time. Had people bringing it. I had 2 cops bringing it in. Just, cops used to come to me to get dope. And tell them, don't worry, at lunch hour, I'll go out to my car and get some of my shit and reimburse you. I tell them, you don't even need to, man. So we're back in the hole and all that. And then this dude, he's a dope fiend. I treat him named Merle Campbell. I treat him as a friend. And I keep dope in his pocket, keep him high, keep money in his pocket. All he's got to do is transport, because 3 of the dudes, there were 6 of us that were getting prosecuted to go get forcefully transferred to the feds. Kenny something, I forget his name, and then 2 native dudes, Chief and Randy, they got out. They beat it. Well, me, JR and Frank, John Rainey and Frank Linda, we're getting processed going to feds. So I'm sending weed out to the Indian dudes. And to sling it and all that, make a little money, and also send some money out for me, whatever. So, and they're Ojibwe and all that. And Ojibwe weed is Sakaswa. So I go out to go to the hospital, and I see them there. I'll post up because they work in the laundry right across the hallway from the custody house. I look at them, hey, what's going on? They say, hey, what's happening? I say, hey, Sakaswa. They said, no. I said, no. They said, no. So this dude started burning us because he thought we were going to go to the feds. He'd never see us again. Anyhow, it turned into the thing. I got an assault beef on him. I couldn't get to him. And Frank, the JR got some bad information that we were going to the feds that week. So I said, well, I'm going to have to do something to this guy. So I had 12 rotten apples and oranges in the corner. And I got a thing of lighter fluid. And it wasn't that big, really. And I torched and I lit him on fire. When he was running around, I was hitting him with rotten fruit. Tell me, you fucking punk. I treat you like a friend, you fucking bitch. You robbed me, and you lie, and woo. So anyhow, I ended up getting the case for that. But we didn't go right away. They moved us over to a new MCL unit, maximum custody living unit. They hired retired military to run it and all that. That's when I was going up, and the sergeant told me, hey, Greshner, because I'm going on the 4th tier. There's 5 tiers here. The 5th tier is PC, but it's got everything is chicken wired in, heavy mesh, right? I'm going to the 4th tier. Sergeant tells me, hey, Greshner, there's a fucking rat up there. I looked at him. So I get up there. Well, this so-called rat is wearing a wire on the corruption in the joint. It's against the cops. It ain't even against us. There's big investigations going on. Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. It turns into state legislature investigation, a whole fun trip. Well, this dude ends up dead. So when he ends up dead, they think it's a suicide. And he'd been telling his family and people visit him that the cops are beating him and shit. So they're trying to shut him up because this guy's getting ready to go in front of a grand jury on the cops. So they find him dead. He's got a rope around his neck in his cell. So what happens the next day, they find the same type of rope in one of the native dude's cell, but it's like a twine, but they make it by the boatload. They got a twine factory in this joint that makes twine, ropes, and then big ropes to hold ships and everything. And everybody's got this twine as like laundry, clotheslines and shit in their cells. So they snatched Gary up. I'm going to trial for lighting this guy on fire. Merle Campbell, I lit him on fire, so I'm at trial. And so what happens is they snatch Gary out of there and take him to a county jail. There's a bank robber dude in the county jail that's an informant, or turns into an informant. His name's Kenneth Bankston out of Lake Alabama. He claims Gary admitted to him or confessed to him that Gary, me, and all of us killed this dude. So Gary gets indicted. We don't even get indicted. Gary gets indicted, and I'm down it. And I end up getting convicted for lighting this guy on fire and all that shit. I get 10 years for that. They bring me back. And so we're going to trial as Gary's witnesses. And we're saying, listen, he didn't do it because he did it. We did it because we were with him. We were all in Frank's cell smoking Thai sticks. We had fucking weed. They let us out. We're locked on the tier. And there's maybe 10 cells on the tier. So we're locked on the tier. And but the doors are open from like 6:30 in the morning till like 10:30 or 11 at night, other than count time. So we're in Frank's house, and you used to be able to hang sheets on the front of your cell and just have it cracked a little bit, and they're all single cells. So if a cop came by in the night, he could look in and see you that you're in there, right? So the sheets are covered and all that. We're in there smoking, listening to music, smoking tie sticks, plotting and scheming, doing our shit, right? So this dude ends up dead. So they indict Goodwin. So we're saying, listen, anybody can get up on these stairs. They bring in an expert, a security expert from 3M, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, named Red Rudinsky. He's a Jew that used to be a Peterman, a safe cracker back in the day. He did time in the feds on. He used to blow safes with nitro and shit. Then he straightened up and he's a security guy. So they bring him in because we're saying you can pick these big jailhouse locks and go up and down these stairs. They're saying no. And they bring in a representative of this Folgers company in Illinois that makes these big, huge jail locks that are on these doors. They're saying they're unpickable, and Red Rudinsky's saying they're unpickable. Well, shit, a buddy of ours, Fergie, picks them with the earphones, the wire that goes over the top of your head on earphones that's kind of stiff. He picks them with that, and they don't believe it. So we call in Fergie. He gets on the witness stand, and the DA's got the Red Rudinsky's little package of picks and tension bars and all that. He says, your preference, Mr. Ferguson. And Fergie picks out a pick and a tension bar. He says, he picks the lock in 60 seconds and relocks it in like 58 seconds. Bam, acquittal. They acquit Gary. So there's an informant named Gary Smith up on the 5th tier. There was another dude up there named Houston. He testified against Goodwin and got out. Now Gary Smith is trying to testify against me and 2 other dudes and get out. So he changes up. He says in the reflection of the window, these big jailhouse windows, he could see me come up behind this dude in the reflection of the window, throw a rope around his neck, drag him in a cell. He heard some struggling, then it got quiet. And then they find this guy fucking dead. Okay, the problem is these windows haven't been washed in like 30 years. Even to look through them a little bit, I'd have to get a lotion bottle full of hot water and soap, squirt it through the mesh wire about 20 feet over to hit it, and get a little opening so I can holler at the guys coming back in from the mill to deliver messages back in the cell blocks for us. So you can't see them. So what they did is they brought in a scaffold, window washing crew, Windex, scrubbed these windows. Now they're like mirrors. And we didn't have any light bulbs on our chairs. We're smoking weed and tie sticks. So we don't want a bunch of fucking bright lights. There's no light bulbs. They brought in 1,000-watt light bulbs, big, clear, not even frosted, giant light bulbs like Edison light bulbs. And then they put cops from homicide in the DA's office on the 5th tier with cameras, and they put people walking back and forth on the 4th tier. And now you can see clearly, right? Well, the problem is Houston and Gary Smith. Gary Smith's the guy that's trying to fucking get us. We're taking lie detector tests, and they're flunking everything. They can't even get a reading on these idiots, right? So he's down in the Washington County Jail trying to fucking work a deal and get out of jail. He's trying to use us. So his old lady's in the women's joint in Shakopee. She sends me a wire. She says, listen, man, Gary says, don't trip. He ain't trying to hurt you guys. He's trying to bust move, get out of jail. I said, yeah, but the fucking fool got us indicted for first-degree murder, right? So a little while, we're in pretrial right now. A little while later, I get another wire from her. She says, Gary said, send your mouthpiece down to the county jail and bring a fucking tape recorder. So I sent my lawyer that was representing me named Tom Roll. He was also representing me on that torch job where I had the case. I told him, go down and talk to this guy. Went in, and Gary Smith broke it all down. He says, listen, man, we're lying. They know we're lying. They couldn't get nothing straight. Us, we're just trying to get out of jail. We couldn't see shit, blah, blah, blah. So we beat this shit in pretrial. And Frank and JR Frank had already been sent out to the feds to Lewisburg. Me and JR were still left behind. Okay, so check it out. So they moved me and JR back to C-Max, the old hole that we were in the beginning before they built this new MCOU. And they closed the MCOU down. So there's all these investigations going on, and they find this guy killed and all this shit. Anyhow, so we're back there and we're waiting. We're still under this prosecution to go to the feds. So in January of 75, they come in at like 3 in the morning, and the goon squad comes out. I think they're coming for me because we're living in these cubicles. There's 3 cells in a cubicle, and there's 3 cubicles on each tier, and we're right in the front cubicle. The door opens. Here comes goon squad. I'm looking. I've been up. I've been banging fucking crank. I'm up, looking at JR's next door to me. and he's been banging fucking heroin, so he's nodding, right? So they come running in, and they run right past me and pop his door and get him, jump on him with a shield. That's how they got Frank, too. When they got Frank in 74, Frank had burglar alarms on his door and everything. He had like a big ute clamp and shit on it. But he smoked some weed, popped a bunch of pills, shot some heroin. He was out. They took the ute clamp and everything off his fucking door and jumped on his back with a shield, dragged him away. So, fucking, but I'm wide awake. I'm lit, right? I'm like a cat on a hot tin roof, man. So they just run past me and take JR out. I see him. He's got his little pocket watch popping out of his little leather thong on his fucking belt loop. I tell him, catch you later, brother. I'll see you down the road. So they take him away. So there was a deal with my lawyer, with Tom Roll and the Warden McManus, that they would not transfer me out of the state system until all my litigation in the state was done, which was the torsion job, the fucking the murder they got me on, that fake-ass murder beef, and I had a 1983 pending because they shot me and some other guys like 3-4 times a day with a big high-pressure water hose for like 45 days straight because we were burning sag. We were like prison activists, prison reformers. We're banging with these motherfuckers. This is back in the days before they had all this new wave prisoners' rights and shit. We're fighting for this shit, right? So I had a lawsuit going. Well, the 2 criminal cases are done. They dismissed the murder beef. I got convicted on the torch thing, and they're getting ready to move me. And my lawyer, Tom Roll, calls the warden, and he says, listen, man, we had a deal. And the warden says, yeah, that's over. This is just a civil thing. He's out of here. They can bring him back later. And I told my staff, if he does any of his fucking shit on the road, don't even fuck with him. Don't try to apprehend him or do that. Just kill his ass. So he made a threat against my life. I mean, it's been kind of a wild ride.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But you gotta understand, I kind of grew up in the streets, man. You know, as a little kid in the streets, ripping and running. Man, I was a drug smuggler at 5. For my mom, she sent me out pick up forged prescription things from pharmacies and stuff. I was a drug dealer at 6. Breaking off little dextrine and dexamol and long-acting pollutant pills from my sisters. Got my first case at 7. Started my first street gang at 7. My first knife fight with a black kid when I was 7. And it just kept going on. And this was my norm. I grew up in this stuff. This was my norm. My pops was a good guy, but he liked his booze and he was a wildcat over the road truck driver. Mom was a good person, but she was a drug addict. She on pharmaceuticals, and she wasn't there much and all that. So we have to kind of take care of ourselves, and all that. I had 4 sisters, 2 older, 2 younger, 1 brother younger than me. I think I had an older brother, but I think he died. That was before I was around. So, man, and we grew up in the streets. A lot of times there wasn't food. We'd have to go get food. We'd boost food. We'd steal shit. Older people would put us on missions. I had a little crew of my little street gang, man. We'd go boost shit, cigarettes, stuff like that for them. They'd send us on missions in the junkyards. We'd go into our little toolkits, get carburetors off junk cars, whatever they wanted, right? So these are the things we were doing. And, it's a foregone conclusion. I'm either going to end up dead or I'm going to end up in the penitentiary, right? And in retrospect, looking back, because of how my life went, the karma of my life, it was just like a foregone conclusion. I'm going to go to jail, and then in jail, I'm going to be ripping and running, doing the shit I do in jail, just like everybody was doing in jail in those hard rock penitentiaries back in the days, because they were wide open, right? They were just jungles, man. So, I mean, I loved it. It was like my great adventure, but I would go deeper and deeper and deeper into the holes and the segregation and solitary until eventually I'm slammed deep in deep slammers. And there was little messages along the way that, like, we get high, man. I used to sell a lot of dope in jail, man. That's how I made my money. And but I'd also use a lot of dope. I used to use a lot of speed and LSDs and weed and hash and just all that stuff. I got caught up. I was doing a lot of stuff for organized crime crews. I was just a youngster on the street, a teenager. And I had a little crew with me, and we were doing our thing. And then I ended up getting caught up with a crew called the Casisco Mob.
And the Kosciuszko mob was run by Nick Kosciuszko. They were mostly in their early 20s. And then a lot of the guys under them were my age, like teenagers, right? So they would do burglaries, running liquor, selling liquor to high school kids for parties, doing robberies, all kinds of stuff, fencing, stolen stuff, and all that. Anyhow, he got to me somehow. I don't know how. And I went to a party one Friday night at some older homegirls of mine's pad, and the Irish girl, Eileen Gallagher, she told me, man, there's some people in the kitchen here wanting to see you. So I said, are they cops? She says, no, I don't think so. I said, all right. So I went in, there was 3 dudes in there. 2 of them are really buffed up dudes. This is back in the 60s when people aren't really lifting weights like that. These guys are like weightlifters, bodybuilders, right? Don't smoke, drink, use drugs, nothing. And it was Nick Kosciuszko, Dick Stevens, and another guy named Willie Williams. Willie was probably at that time like one of the biggest human beings I ever seen. He was like, I don't know how tall and how big, but he was. He made the kitchen. He dwarfed the kitchen. Anyhow, Nick said, I said, you guys trying to see me? And Nick said, you John? I said, yeah. I said, yeah. He says, can I talk to you? I said, yeah. So we went in the living room. I told him, you want a cigarette? He says, no, I don't smoke. You want a drink? No, I don't drink. I don't do any of that. I said, all right. He said, I know what you're doing. I'm denying all that. I said, are you a cop? He says, no. So we talked a little bit. He says, this is what I do. So they 10% jobs. So anyhow, fast forward, I end up getting in business with these guys. They 10%. They case everything, tell you what you got to do, how you got to do it, who you got to take, where the safes are, everything. And they get 10% of the take. For 20% of the take, they provide drivers, guns, jumpsuits, radios, police radios. Back in them days, you needed crystals. You didn't have none of this computerized stuff and all that stuff. I had mace before the street cops had mace. Anyhow, so this diamond heist thing was one of his jobs. And the reason it went bad is because one of his guys, Randy Marlowe, he used to drink a little bit before jobs, and I told him, finally, you can't drink no more, because you'd get us killed or busted or whatever. He said, okay. The first job, when he was sober, he was supposed to take the showroom in this diamond company. It's a big showroom. You're kind of exposed. And I was supposed to go in the back room where the safes are and all that. But they got people back there that are armed, and there's a shotgun port in the wall that covers the showroom with a guy with a 12 gauge. So you got to get back there and get these people and throw it down and secure it. Anyhow, you never change up, positions when everything's locked in. How you're going to roll? Well, on our way to the front door, he says, "Hey, John, let me take the back room. You take the showroom." I looked at him. I knew it was a bad move, but I said, okay. Anyhow, it went bad. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. He got shot because of it. The owner shot him with a Browning high-power, shot him twice through the hand, shot him in the face. And a guy turned the gun on me. I got in a gunfight. I had to shoot him. It was just a fiasco. So, fast forward, we cleaned it up. We had 2 more licks that were supposed to go down. One was a payroll robbery, and one was a priceless coin collection on exhibit in a university. And we had our guy out of New York that was a fence, that would fence stuff. He had nose for the money, and then he'd take stuff back to New York, fence, and then bring it back and all that. Anyhow, so after that, the payroll robbery that night, a guy that was with me started getting nervous, wanted to go home. I told him, you can't go home, you're going to get busted. We got 2 licks left, we'll be done, we'll go back out to the West Coast, hang out there. After a year, get some good lawyers, you'll be okay. Anyhow, he went in and dropped a dime on us, so we almost got caught on the payroll thing that night. Did the robbery, didn't even go down. We got busted the next day, they kicked the door. We were out at like this little resort thing we were hanging out at. I ended up ultimately getting 60 years in prison, 10-10-10, run together, 10-10-10, run together, and then bow-legged with the other ones. I went to St. Cloud Reformatory. We're in St. Cloud Reformatory. Mm-hmm. We're up there. We had this master plan to escape during the Alamo movie. It gave us like 4 hours. And everything was wired down tight. We were all the way up on the top floor. It was probably, 60, 70 feet off the ground. In a chapel, went through a false wall, cut the bar out. I had everything. I had my connections for tools, for rope, for everything. And another guy with me, Greg Knox, says, "Oh, no, I can get the rope. Don't worry." I told him, "Are you sure? Because I can get a big spool of 1/2-inch nylon rope. We can all just swing around on it all day long, right? He said, oh, I got it. So we're in between the false wall and the regular wall. Got the bar cut out. It's at night. There's 4 of us there. Me, Haggard, Greg Knox, and Jackman. And we're ready to go. And I told him, give me the rope. He pulls these little tiny 1/4-inch thick cords out of his pockets, little 4-foot lengths. I told him, man, stop fucking around. Give me the fucking rope, man. And he's got these, he said, there's a rope. I told him, where the fuck did you get that? Off the blinds. He snipped it off the blinds in the fucking education building. It's just little cotton cords. I said, oh, fuck. So now I'm back out in the chapel out there. I'm getting all the extension cords, everything else, tying everything together. I throw it out the window. It's a long ways down, man. And I says, who's the lightest guy? Well, I was the second lightest. Jackman was the lightest. I said, all right, you go first. He's got a knife, all that. Went out the window. I gave him a flashlight with a little button on your blanket. I said, when you get underground, run underneath that pine tree over there. And the rover with the gun in it, when he drives by and he's not around, give me 3 blinks. I'm coming. He said, okay. He gets out the window. He's going. He looks up, smiles at me, starts going out. Pop, the fucking rope broke, man. He dropped like 70, 75 feet. Man, he hit hard. He ended up breaking his back in multiple places, compound fractures, both legs, crushed ribs into his fucking lungs, drove a knife right through. I see him later in the state prison. Drove a knife through his arm. He said, you just pull that out, shoot that out the way. He said, that didn't even hurt. And he was screaming loud. And I said, oh, fuck. So I went out. They had these flags hanging up, and then I'm trying to get these flags. I'm going to try to tie them kitty corner together and hang them up as far as they can, and then just hang drop, right? And they're saying, no, we got to go. And his screaming drew him out of the cell blocks to the front of the prison. And it's dark out there, and he landed on grass. But he dropped a long ways, man. And he would scream, ah, and then almost go out cold, from the pain and exhaustion. And then, he'd scream again. So he kept pulling him out. That's what allowed us to get back down the spiral staircase, probably about 3-4 floors from this higher area down to the second tier in the cell block where my cell was. Me and Knox got we're on the same tier. He gets in his cell, I go a few cells down, I get in my cell, and I got Haggerty hiding in my cell. So when they come back from the Alamo, he's going to go to the back of the block, drop down, and run through a sliding door into E block, because I'm in A block. He's going into E block and going to go back to a cell. Well, they when they went to the movie, them guys sliding door open, they came through E block, through A block to walk around through B block, C block, and then to the gymnasium, this auditorium to watch the movie. Well, it was the reverse process coming back, and they had already went through, because when he came through before the movie, he climbed up back here, got in my cell with me. Now when he was trying to go back, they had already went back in E block, closed the door, and he was trapped. And they asked him, where the fuck have you been? Because in those days, you filed into auditoriums or chairs and all that, and you sat down with your building, your cell block, and you didn't move around. You couldn't move around, run around, do any of that. And they asked him, man, where you been? He said, I was sitting with some friends. They said, it's no, you can't. So they arrested him. And they didn't really get him for an attempt to escape, but they knew he was connected somehow. So they sent him up to the state prison for that. And the rest of us, we got away with it. They got Bunkenhead, Jackman, he was down on the ground. They had to do all kinds of surgeries on him. He never gave nobody up. And they sent him up to the state prison, too. So that started that. So then, we're there, and we try another one, move through the laundry, the tailor shop. I got a homeboy working in the side room in the tailor shop. He's sawing the bars out. They find that. We don't get busted, but they find that. So then it turns into a thing where a guy, because back in them days, people would just come up to the prison and visit you. They didn't need to be on visiting lists or anything. So an old partner from the Cisco mob comes up there and he says, hey, man, how you doing? I told him, listen, man, we got a move going down. And what we got to do is we're going to have to snatch up this cop that's running the canteen. And we're coming out in a window well. So it's a big window well, probably about 12 feet long, maybe 6 feet deep, maybe 7 feet wide. And I says, listen, if you want to do something, go down to the Great Northern Roundhouse down there in Minneapolis. and go in the cabooses. They got cutting torches there, the portable ones, oxyacetylene. They got torch tips and everything. I knew all that because my uncle used to work for Great Northern. I used to be up in them trains all the time, right? I said, get one of them, get a couple of 38 pistols, 38 police vests, little snub noses. From Cisco's old garage area, he had a big dresser drawer, but it was like a big kind of stand-up thing with a whole bunch of little drawers in it. There was a lot of pistols in it, and a bunch of them were mine, a 9mm, 45, a lot of 38 stuff. Grab a couple of my little snub-nosed 38s, get a big piece of canvas, sneak up, drop it in the window well, throw the canvas over, cut one bar out, put a couple of little snub-noses in under the leaves right there, and thank you very much, and I'll catch you down the road, right? I said, you don't have to do this, but if you say you're going to do it, you got to do it because we're going to have to snatch somebody. He says, okay, I got you, John, don't worry. Well, he didn't do it, but we ended up snatching this dude. And from one room during lunch hour, took him across.
You have 1 minute left.
To the canteen, and had him in there, had him bound and gagged up, and all he wasn't hurt or nothing. And they fucked around, and there wasn't nothing there, nothing cut, no gun. So I got a saw blade. We're cutting out. We couldn't get through there, so we had to go down to the big shower room there. Okay, so we get the guy from, we get him, we grab him and all that. We aren't trying to hurt him. We just get him, we bind him, to put some tape around his mouth, tape his hands and feet up. We're carrying him from his lunch station, which is like the warehouse for the canteen, just across the hallway, over to the canteen area. We got his keys. I got Dale Irestone. He's opening up the fucking a canteen door with his keys. Me and another guy, there's two buddies of mine. One's out of New York, a black dude named Leo Nichols out of New York, another black dude out of Minnesota, South Minneapolis, Leonard Ford, me, and Dale Irestone. And I believe maybe Kurt Rancor was with us, another partner of mine. Anyhow, we're going across. So I got the guy under his armpits. The other guy's holding his legs. His fucking pants fell down. He was an old man with a big belly. His pants fell down. I told him, man, pull his fucking pants up. Looks like we fucked the dude, right? This is fucking bad. So we get him in there and we throw him behind the counter. He's cool. And like I say, ain't no guns, ain't nothing cut out, so we're sawing out. But we can't. This is a brand new saw blade I got too. We can't get through it. I said, all right, we got to go down the hallway, probably about 40 yards, into the big shower room and into the clothing exchange thing. I'm going to pop the lock and the bolt. We're going to pull the window fan out and cut out there. I told Leo, I says, check this guy's pockets. We ain't going to take him with us. We're just going to leave him behind the counter because he's tied up and he's gagged. Make sure he ain't got nothing in his pockets to cut himself loose. Well, Leo missed a ring knife that they used to cut boxes open and cut string with. He cut himself open. So we're down in the shower room. I'm Jimmy the lock open. Next thing I know, it sounds like a stampede of fucking cattle. And there's like 200 fucking cops and free staff people coming down. They got us cornered there. And now we're looking at our backs are against the wall. I got a big fucking screwdriver up and jamming the door open with. The other guys got knives. We just square off with them. They say, okay, listen. We don't want no problems. I said, there ain't going to be no retaliation. Dude, we're going to get it right now. They said, no, we're just going to move you up to solitary and all that. So that's what they did. This was in July of '69 when the moon landing happened. Because we were up in the solitary cells. There's 5 cells. There's 3 tiers, 5 cells on each tier. I was on the bottom tier. Me, Greg Knox was out there. He was a fucking buddy I told you about before. They had the fucked up rope. He was up there. Greg is crazy anyhow. He's a good guy, but he was crazy. Charlie Gardner, a black dude's up there. And then the other guys were on the tiers up above us. So during the moon landing, the cop was telling us what was going down and all that. So this was like solitary at that time. He didn't get nothing to sell. You were in a small cell with bars, a little light bulb recessed in the wall with heavy screen over it, then a solid wooden door about, 3-4 inches thick with a peephole plate on it. We didn't have nothing. Didn't have toothbrush, toothpaste, soap, towels, nothing. No sheets, blanks. You had a pair of pajama bottoms and pajama top, no boxers, socks, nothing. During the day, they'd take your mattress. You didn't have nothing to read. You didn't have shit. So I used to play Battleship on the wall. I tore a little lead breather out of the side of the mattress, and I draw a Battleship grid on the wall. And just for entertainment, I had crazy old Greg Knox next to me. And I'd holler, A1, he'd say, fuck, you got a battleship. And every time he'd holler a number, I'd mark it off secretly. I said, no, that's a miss. Finally, he got to it. I'd say, that's a miss. He'd say, I'll kill you, you motherfucker. He said, I'll fucking kill you. I get a hold of you, I'll fucking kill you. I'm laughing so hard, I'm rolling around the floor. That was our therapy up there, right? So, fucking, anyhow, they could only keep you up there like 14 days at a time. Then they had to take you down to SAG, let you eat food for a week because you ate so little bit of food up there, you're starving, right? Then they take you back up to South there. So when they took us down there, I'm on tier 28. 26 and 28 is SAG in a D block. So I'm on 28, and Ironstone's next to me. He can't handle it. He can't handle South there. He wanted to cut his wrists and all that. And he told me, John, you're crazy. You ain't going to live to see 25. I said, yeah, I am. He said, no, I'll bet. We got a $10,000 bet. This is in 1969. I don't know where the fuck he's at. He's probably dead in the ground. Got my 10 grand in a shoebox in the fucking casket with him. But he owes me 10 grand. His name's Dale Firestone. He owes me $10,000. Wherever the fuck he's at on the planet. So they let us out there, and it was right after that they sent us up to state prison. We got up there, and it was actually a lot better. The reformatory was much worse in St. Cloud. We got up to the state prison, and we're running around. And this was a time when a whole bunch of youngsters were landing up in the state prison. We totally changed that fucking prison system. You know what I mean? It was like we were proactive, revoluting. We were on prison reform, social active shit, revoluting, doing all that shit, right? So we radically changed that prison. So I'm up there and having fun, getting caught up and stuff and all that. And so we went and we escaped the first time. We sawed our way out of the Director of Education's office. We built it around an outside function called CAGE, Convicts Association for Good Environment. In fact, the night before, this CAGE was on a Sunday. The night before, there was 8 or 9 guys that had been sawing out the window out of A block, and their saw blades broke. They didn't have none. Well, that day we had a function down. We had what's called the PUSH group, Prisoners United Society for Hope. That's a whole different story. We took it over from old guys that just want to sit in this room and hold girls' hands. We took it over and turned it into like a revolutionary thing. We totally changed the prison system. Started getting people paid serious money and out in the shops working and all that shit. We established a prisoners' rights union out in the streets and all kinds of shit. So anyhow, during that meeting, some people brought me in a bunch of dope. And then they were going out and they got a bunch of saw blades and shit for us out there in the streets, in the parking lot. A homeboy of mine, I'm going to leave him on that fence, and at 4:30 in the afternoon, the sun shines out, he makes the front fence. It's a big, like 10, 12-foot wrought iron fence on the front of the prison. He's got to watch out for a rover guy where they got a gun in a shotgun in the fucking truck with him. He climbs over the fucking front fence. I'm in the windows lighting books and matches so he can see him flaring at the window I'm in. There's a big cell block about 100 yards long. He comes running up to the window, trotting, grinning with that silly grin, hands me all the fucking saw blades and shit through the window. And he's just standing there grinning. I told him, man, get the fuck out of here, man, go. And he starts going. He's wearing colored clothes, too, and there's nothing even to hide behind, not even a tree. And he's going on. I hear a car. I'm out. There's a car. Get down. He drops down. Just some car going by. He gets up, climbs back over the fence, drops, and just casually drops up the fence, walks across the street, gets with this chick he's with, Paul's sister, Teresa, and they wave and just wander off. I look at Billy, my partner. I said, motherfucker, this guy's crazier than I am. He's out there. But so he got us our shit, so we helped them guys do it. It was 8 or 9 of them that went that night. We blocked for them. They went out the window. It's dark out. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm looking at Billy and I'm telling him, man, everything in me tells me to go out this fucking window right now. He says, yeah, brother, but we got to fucking ride tomorrow. When ours goes on, we got to ride out there. And I said, yeah. So I fucking held my mud, didn't do it. I was up half the night tripping. Next day, we seen the AW. Told him, hey, man, listen, we got this whole thing set up, this, environmentalist thing for CAGE, Convicts Association for Good Environment, got all these outside people come in, got all this organic food. He said, yeah, we're not trying to overreact. We're still going to have the functions in the prison. Because they're still chasing these dudes. What they found one Indian dude, he was drunk. He fell off the fence and crawled in a bush. They found him there. The rest of them are still out and about running around. So we do it, and we at like 3:30. My same homeboy that ran over the fence, came over the fence, came into Salt Lake. He's driving the getaway car. He comes in. He's got a fake ID. We got 3 floors. We got 2 rock bands going upstairs on the 3rd floor. On the 2nd floor, I got Janis Joplin screaming out of a stereo system with 2 detached speakers. I got a guy sitting in front of the director's office. I got butcher paper over covering the door, and I got, environmental stuff on it. Me and Mad Dog, a partner of mine, we're in there sawing the bars off, and I can see the AW right across the fucking rooftop, maybe 30 feet away. And every now and then he'd get up because it's summertime and come to the windows and get some fresh air. It's hot. And it's so hot. I'm in my underwear and a pair of boxers and tennis shoes while I'm sawing these bars out. And I'm telling Dog, I say, man, I can't believe this fucking guy can't hear us sawing these damn bars out. And anyhow, we get them out. We get everything ready to go. We synchronize our watch. I tell them 15 minutes. Go halfway down in front of B block and hit the brakes because we're coming. And that's what happened, man. We jumped out the windows, dropped off of the rotunda roof down the B block side, ran halfway down, hit that front fence, went over. Hey, and there was an Afro-American banquet going on at that time. The shotgun guard on the Rovers in the streets with a 12 gauge out about 50 yards away from us to our right with his back to us, regulating traffic and shit. And we come over the fence, go running, getting in the car, and a car pulled up behind our car. It had an old dude and an old woman in it. I guess they were from the neighborhood there, the area. They told the newspaper later they thought we were guards doing riot maneuvers, climbing over the fences and jumping in the car and stuff. They didn't say nothing. And we got in the car, and we took off. We was gone, man. So that's what happened there. So when they finally caught up with us, got us back into prison, my head was busted open. I had we hit a light pole about 60 miles an hour apart. My partner had some buckshot in him from a shotgun. And we had some issues, so we ended up lighting that seg on fire. They had to bring in the Bayport Fire Department to put it out, and they took us out. They put us downstairs, went through some more stuff. We're beefing with them, and we needed some blood. We needed some drugs. So when the motherfucking pharmacist came by with the whole block's tray of drugs, I fucking robbed him, took all the drugs, threw all the bunk out there, and we took all the Demols, morphines, Valiums, everything else. I split them with Billy. Billy told me, okay, bro, you robbed the pharmacist, got us dope. I'm going to donate the blood because we got a plan. Because they kind of whooped our ass. We got in a shootout with them to capture him. Billy got shot, and I was kind of fucked up. So we told them, listen, we're pissing blood. So they gave us these bottles to piss in, see how much blood we're pissing. So Billy says, listen, you robbed the pharmacist, so I'm going to donate the blood. I said, okay. So I got a homemade knife and a homemade hatchet in the cell with me. So I take the knife, and these walls were boilerplate steel. It's riveted, held together. The walls between the cells are maybe an inch thick, that's all. I could reach all the way around into a cell. He sticks his arm out. He says, I cut on the edge of not my wrist, but on the outside edge where my bone is on my right arm, and I'll donate the blood. I told him, okay. I took my homemade knife. It had a nice point, but it didn't have a cutting edge on it. So I'm not trying to hurt him. I'm just trying to cut him a little bit so he can get some blood. So I hit it. He said, okay, and he's trying to get it. And he says, man, there ain't no fucking blood. What's the matter? You scared to cut me? I tell him, all right, I'm high as a motherfucker. I tell him, stick your motherfucking arm out. I put the knife down. I grabbed the hatchet. Stuck his arm. I said, whop, hit that motherfucker. The blood jumped about a foot in the air. He said, oh, fuck it. Sobered him right up. He said, give me a tourniquet. Well, all I got is a pair of boxers and a pair of blue jeans. So now I got to tear up the fucking blue jeans, make them a tourniquet and a compress bandage. And we ain't even got mattresses in there. We ain't got shit. We ain't got nothing. We ain't got a toothbrush, a towel, nothing. Now I'm just got a pair of fucking boxers. I used to tell them, okay, all right, bro, I'm going to catch you later. I'm going to fluff up the steel and go to sleep. We ain't got mattresses. We ain't got sheets, the blankets, shit. We ain't got shit. So we're throwing trays at them because, my eyes kind of cut open still from when we hit the fucking light pole. Billy still got buckshot in him. And so we fucking... we're going through a trip, and we trick them into letting, because there's food all out there and maggots all out there. We're in cells. There's 3 cells in a cubicle, and we're locked in a cubicle. There's just 2 of us in there, and there's maggots all over the floor. So we trick them into saying, well, listen, we're going to clean it up. They said, okay. And once we got out, we refused to go back in. Well, they brought in a friend of ours, Mike Ferraro, call him The Fly. He's in there. He ain't really with this madness, but he's stuck in there now with us. He brought some weed and some fucking synthetic THC with him. So we're snorting that shit and smoking weed. And we tell them we ain't going in. So they're starting to fucking load up. They're getting guns and all that down there in the day room. They send Bill Scott up there, an ex-con out of Arizona that was working, got out and was working a program out there in the mainline, inmate advisory and an inmate counseling program, which we ultimately became part of. But he came down, he was crying, he says, John, they're going to kill you. I said, they ain't going to kill shit, fuck them. So we're beefing and all this and that, and then finally they did a peaceful resolution. And I says, you got to let us out of here. You got to give us regular privileges back here in CMAX. Give us showers and fucking, regular food and clothing and everything else and toothbrush. They said, okay. So what happened was, Billy, I severed one of the nerves in his hand when I hit him with the hatchet. So they're taking him down every morning, give him a little electroshock therapy on his wrist. Well, we got some other issues going on, see? Because when we first did this and I whacked his hand and he put all his blood in the bottles and then we put some urine in there, turned them in, they said, you guys ain't pissing that much fucking blood. Looked like tomato juice in the jars. They said, you'd be fucking dead if you were pissing that much blood, because we planned on going up to the prison hospital in the quiet cells in a wing and have the homeboys bring us some shit. We're going to saw out. We're going to go over the fucking wall. Fuck it. Well, we had too much blood in the bottles. They weren't going for it. So we're on the other tier. We get chopping up, me, Billy, and Mad Dog. We said, listen, we got these issues. And there was a lot of stuff going on back in Ad Seg at that time. Just grimy shit, cops doing bad shit and all that. And you file on it, try to get straight, they ain't listening to nothing. So we said, okay, we're going to have to take radical motherfucking approach here, so we're just going to take this motherfucker over. So I told Billy, when you come back from the electroshock therapy on your arm, you snatch up the cop, put a knife to his neck, bring him in the cubicle, hand him to me, I'll put a knife to his neck, then I'll pass him over to Mad Dog. You open the doors up, we're going to take this motherfucker over. He said, okay. So he goes down and gets electroshock therapy, he comes up, cop's got keys, 111 and 112. 111, I think, opens the lockbox. 112 opens the door to the cubicle. He opens the cubicle door, slides the box out. Billy grabs him, puts steel in his neck, hands it to me. I put steel in his neck, pass it to Mad Dog. Billy opens my door. All right, let's roll. We got down in the tier. We got to go down the steps, and the door into the fucking control center was partially cracked. And the lieutenant in there's got his back to us. And we go running down this motherfucker as fast as we can. His sixth sense must have told him something. He looked over his shoulder, seen us, and snatched the doorknob, pull it shut. I said, fuck. Well, we had a backup plan. We're going to rip the drinking fountain out of the floor and smash it through the window. Well, we ripped the motherfucking drinking fountain out of the floor. The damn thing's almost hollow. And Billy's like about 6'4", about 270. We go 1, 2, 3. He threw the drinking fountain and me at the fucking window. I bounced out the window. The cop gassed me. I told you, motherfucker, I'm going to get you for that. And we couldn't get through the fucking window. So then we had to jack the whole place up, jam the locks, throw shit, barricade shit up against the doors. We got the keys. We had going around on all the tiers. Who wants to get out? Now's the time to air this shit out. They had the commissioner of correction there, the warden there, and all them, and fucking we hashed it all out. And finally, they said, okay, no retaliation. Give us the cop back. And the cop's safe, because you don't want to be taken hostage. But if you have to be taken hostage, you want to be my hostage or our hostage, because we protect you. You're in our cell. You're smoking our cigarettes, drinking our coffee, eating our candy bars. You're safe. We need you to keep them off us and keep them from shooting us while we're negotiating shit, right? So we did that, and they took us out to the fucking county jails. We're up in the county jail, up in fucking Red Wing, and we're plotting and scheming. We're going to get some saw blades and escape from the county jail. And two partners of mine, Frank Avenda and Kurt Rancor, they fucking went to rob a fucking liquor store, an Italian liquor store, but they run the bookmaking out of the back of it for the cities. And they got a cop in there, a city cop named Lieutenant Suick, big old motherfucker, running security for them. So they go in to jack the fucking joint, and Frank's he's got a Colt Cobra 38. He reloads his own fucking rounds. He's been loading them real hot. He throws down this Lieutenant Suick. This Lieutenant Suick's got 357 strapped on his hip. And Frank throws out and tells him, get your hands up. Suick looks at him, just gives him a dirty look and goes for his gun. Frank pulled his trigger. He's maybe 6 feet from him. And he hit a dead primer. It didn't go off. He fired the second one. That round was so hot, it hit him in the heart. This before they had vests or anything. His whole heart exploded, covered Frank with fucking blood. Cop dropped dead. And now they got to get the fuck out of there. So it's all over the news that a cop just got killed. Well, they end up getting Kurt right away, and then they get Frank, and Frank does an emergency medical thing from the Hennepin County Jail down to the Hennepin emergency thing down in Hennepin County Hospital. He's down there. They got him handcuffed to a chair. A homegirl comes in and slides him a 357 across the floor. He picks it up, throws it down on the cops, takes their guns, chains them to it, and gets loose. And then he goes over to another homeboy's house named Dennis Erickson to get a change of clothes. He says, man, I'm going up to that fucking Red Wing jail and breaking John out. So, unbeknownst to Frank,
you have 1 minute left.
Dennis Erickson's an informant. He calls the cops. So I'm trying to make a motherfucking little Allen wrench to loosen up these things so I can open these cell doors so we can get out to the windows. I'm asking these guys, you think this shit's making noise? They can hear it. They said, no. Next thing I know, there's all kinds of cops around. So I thought, fuck, they did hear it. So, but they really didn't. What it was is they got word that Frank's coming up to bust us out. Okay, so I'm trying to make this fucking little Allen wrench. I'm grinding this little bolt down the floor to make it like a hexagon thing. And I asked Billy and Dog, I said, man, you think they can hear this fucking shit, going, the grinding through the floor? Because it's not that loud, but it's kind of loud. And he said, no, they can't hear. I said, all right. So I'm doing it, and we're watching on this little black and white TV, 12-inch TV we had sent in, that we had some saw blades put in and sent in, and fucking, we're seeing Frank and them fucking this whole cop killing thing. I said, and then Frank's on loose. He broke out of the fucking hospital, the emergency area. So fucking, all of a sudden there's all kinds of cops on the front of our grill, in front of our tank. And I think, oh, fuck, they could hear this shit. And they said, you guys cuff up. And I think, fuck, they're going to search us. So I threw the little bolt to the side, hoping they'd miss it. It's a little tiny thing. They cuffed us up, took us to the little, another tank just around the corner. And they're there, and there's a cop out there watching us. And he says, which one of you guys is John Gresham? I said, oh, fuck. They not only could hear it. Somehow they know it's me. They must have been watching because there ain't no cameras, right? And I says, me, I'm Gresham. What's up? They says, you know Frank Avenda? I said, yeah. They said, yeah, well, you guys are out here. We just got word he's coming up to break you out. I said, oh, fuck. So they took us back down to the state prison and put us in the C Annex. We're the only ones, only 3 prisoners. There's only 10 cells over there. We're only 3 prisoners there. So then we worked out a deal where A.W. Alexander, Warden McManus, Captain Murphy, all of them came back. They said, okay, listen, we're going to let you guys back out. You got to sign like a contract to get back out to the main line. It's kind of like a parole plan. And we're going to let Mad Dog out first. Then they're going to let you, Gresham, out. And then they says, Billy Slipka, you're going to the feds. You got 7 years pending on a bank robbery on possession of stolen federal money. But we'll let you be out on the main line until you go. But prior to doing the deal, they came down. McManus came walking down the fucking tier. He stopped at Billy's cell first. He says, you are going to the feds because you got the detainer for 7 years. He got in front of Mad Dog's cell. Billy was probably 24 at the time. I was maybe 20. I don't even know if I was 20. I was maybe still in my teens. And Mad Dog was like 36. He gets in front of Mad Dog's cell. He says, he said, I don't know what the fuck your problem is. You should have mellowed out by now. You're old enough now. He got in front of my cell, got looking at me crazy. And he says, and you? He says, I don't even know what the fuck you're doing here. You ain't even old enough to be in my prison. And he says, you fucking guys, he says, so we're going to do this little contract with you guys and let you out to the main line. Well, they let Dog out first. We're going to the gym. Me and Billy's going to the gym. We're meeting Mad Dog. He's bringing us dope and all that. We're going back into C-Max, the C Annex. And next week, I'm going out for a week. And then I'm getting out, and then Billy's supposed to get out. And Billy comes to the gym and says, man, they just reneged. They said they're not going to let me out. They're going to send me to the feds. We said, fuck that. Come on. They were coming in from the shops. A bunch of people moved back to Silver. I said, don't come on. Let's roll. We ducked in with the crowd, snuck back to A Block. And we're in A Block, and we said, all right, well, it's on. And so let's get the motherfucking knives out. So we got some knives out, and a meat cleaver out, and all in, and we're just bucking. So the cops start getting guns out, and from the armory, they got 30-30 shotguns, some Thompson submachine guns. One got a big old World War II PAR, and here comes Captain Murphy. He's like the officer of the day. Now, Captain Murphy was cool, right? He come running down. He told him, get them fucking guns out of here. He says, listen, he said, John, get rid of them damn weapons. I said, well, we ain't going back to the hole. You guys made a deal. You let Dog out, and you let me out. Now you're reneging on Billy. You got to let Billy come into the block with us and live in this block until you guys take him to the feds, or we're just going to get down with this shit right now. And he said, put the fucking weapons away. He says, I know the warden's going to be mad at me because the warden wasn't there. He was like on a vacation. He did this funky little move and went on vacation, right? He says, but I'm making the call right now. He says, Slipka, you can stay in the block. He said, we'll send your shit to you, what little shit you got back in Shenanigans. We're going to get you a cell. You're going to stay in A block with these guys. And that's what happened, man. So we stayed there for maybe the next 3 months. And we partied like a motherfucker in A block for the next 3 months. And then they took Billy away. So then we was doing good. And then we had we had some kind of a fucking riot go down.
What was the riot over?
Oh, yeah. So then me and Frank's on like the third or fourth tier in A block, the back half. These are big cell blocks. And I got a holder for some bandsaw blades, but we need 2 nuts and 2 bolts, little nuts and bolts. And I ain't got no ink, and I said, let's go looking for them. We get out in the center hall. We're rolling down towards the gym. I run into 3 friends of mine, native guys, Gary Goodwin, Colin Bosco Bear, Louis Smith, and Nelson Walker. Nelson's a little Cajun guy out of fucking Louisiana, but he's half Indian and half French. And he's like jive crazy. If he ain't got somebody to cut on, he cuts on himself, right? But I'm coming down the fucking hallway with Frank, and they used to call me McGilla Gorilla, because back in them days I used to jack a lot of iron. I was all swelled up and big. He said, McGilla, you got your knife on, you got your piece on you? I said, maybe. Why? What's up? I didn't have a boner knife on me, but I had a straight razor in my back pocket, a Red Devil street razor. And this was a Friday night. He just went to the dentist that day. The dentist he put a filling in 4 teeth, but it was like one big weld. He didn't even have cracks between it across 4 teeth, like a highway. And then he ordered pain meds for him, and then he went home, and then the whole fucking filling fell off. So now he's got 4 exposed teeth. So they're in front of D block, and they're trying to get some fucking. The pharmacist won't give Nelson any pain meds. He says nothing been ordered. So he's bugging out. So I said, hold up. Let me talk to the sergeant, talk to the pharmacist. They're right inside the door, right there in D block. So I knock on the door. Sergeant comes over. What's up, Chris? I said, I need to talk to you and talk to this pharmacist. He opens the door, lets me in, and as I'm walking in, I see Baby Eskimo whip past fucking Bosco Bear, pull up his T-shirt and pull a knife out of there. I said, fuck, here we go. So I go in. Nelson runs in. We call him Baby Eskimo. Baby Eskimo runs in, grabs the pharmacist, slams him up against the fucking wall, puts the knife on his throat. And he says, you motherfucker, if you don't give me my pain with meds, I swear to God, I'll cut your throat. And he kind of flicked his hand a little bit. He didn't mean to, but he cut his throat. Not really bad or nothing like that, but technically, he cut his throat. So it's bleeding, but it ain't really that bad. I said, oh, fuck. So I just grabbed the whole drug wagon, opened it over, started dispensing fucking medication. I told Baby, I said, oh, come here. Here's some morphine, some Demerol and shit. Here's some more for later. And then I looked, and there's a whole bunch of people standing over there. I said, what are you guys doing? Oh, this is the med line? I said, well, come on over here. What's your name? What do you get? Here's some shit. I started dispensing medication and giving them, here's a few extra. You look a little stressed. Here's a few extra and all that. So the sergeant calls the nurse, and the nurse says, oh, she's at home. She says, oh, I fucked up. The dentist told me to give him the pain meds. I forgot to write them down. I said, see, it was you guys' bad move. Now the pharmacist holding the fucking towel on his neck. He's okay. His throat's neck cut, but it ain't really cut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here comes the fucking goon squad, Sergeant Maddox and all them. They see it's us. Maddox says, John, what's going on? I said, it was a misunderstanding. I tell him, Sergeant, we had to come in and get this shit straight and all that and get all this stuff together. And it was a misunderstanding. The pharmacist isn't really hurt really bad. It doesn't look like it was doing. These guys need their meds. I'm dispensing meds now. Are we cool? He looked at me and said, okay, John, you're cool. I said, okay. So we go back to A block, and the native guys go back to B block. Me and Frank go back to A block. Well, it's lockup time, like 9:30. So I go to the cop in the front of the block at the desk. I said, you go call Sergeant Maddox down there in the custody office. You make sure that this shit is straight. Otherwise, we're not locking up. Fuck this. And he calls him up, and he says, yeah, Maddox says it's cool. Don't even trip. We says, okay. We lock up. The next morning we come out. I'm sitting on a fucking tier. I just shot some speed. I've been on speed for a while. Probably ain't slept in about a week. And I'm sitting on this picnic table. I just got through smoking a joint. And I got a pocket full of speed, and a pocket full of cash money, because in them days you were selling shit for cash money. And I had this flash in my mind, almost like a premonition, precognition. I seen it look like a tour coming through the front door, A block. I got paranoid, so I went up on the second tier. I'm in the cutoff in between the front and back half of the cell block. It's a big, huge cell block. And here comes Myron Tamale walking down the second tier from his cell. He's got a laundry bag with a towel wrapped up around a meat cleaver. He had some static with some other guys, so I gave him a meat cleaver. And he said, okay, everything's straight, John. I said, he's keep giving it back to me. I told him, man, hang on to it. Take it back to your pad, man. I got a feeling something's going on. Hey, 5 minutes later, here comes that tour I just seen in my mind through the front door. It's the fucking Goon Squad, a whole bunch of them. And they're walking, and I'm watching them. And they come walking up. Now they're looking up at me in the second tier. They came walking over the steps. I put my back to the railing, and they kind of surround me. I told them, what's up? They said, the captain wants to see you. I said, what does he want? Because if it's looking shaky, I'm just jump over the rail and take off, right? And they said, no, he'll talk to you when you get there. I said, wait a minute, is that about that shit last night in D-Block? They said, yeah, we think of me. I thought, oh, fuck, that's straight. Don't even worry about it. So I go down. They take me into, they handcuff me behind my back, take me into the custody office, into Captain Murphy's office. And as soon as I go in, Captain Murphy starts howling, God damn it, John, you fucking robbed a pharmacist and cut his throat. I don't know, he didn't. He says, yes, you did. They're downtown trying to get indictments on you guys right now. I said, they can't get no fucking indictments. I said, where's Sergeant Maddox? He'll tell you what happened. He said, he's over here in the other room. I hollered, Maddox, where are you at? Come here. He said, what do you want, Christian? I said, tell him what the fuck happened. He says, you robbed the pharmacist and cut his throat. I said, you lying motherfucker. So they take us way back to C-Max. So we're back in C-Max, me and Frank. They got me down there. They already got the natives arrested. They're in a pod, or in the little cubicle upstairs. There's 3 cubicles on a tier and 3 cells in each cubicle. Those 3 are in a cubicle. They got me down on the second cubicle on the bottom right-hand tier. I'm in the second cell, and here comes Frank. They bring Frank in. Okay. I'm saying, okay, listen, we can talk through the events, these guys. I said, okay, this is some more fucking crisis intervention. These motherfuckers are trying to indict us for robbing a pharmacist and cutting his throat. So, and technically, I mean, if you just want to, split hairs, I guess he did have a cut throat. And technically, although I was just doing my civic duty by passing out motherfucking drugs, I guess I did kind of rob him. So they could probably get indictments on our ass. So we got to do something about this. So I says, okay, this was on a Friday. Well, we got visits the next day. We're going to make a few moves and all that. And then come Monday, we're taking this bitch over. Okay, so we're all ready. We got some knives. We got hatchets. We got everything ready to go. Fucking, and the year before, and this is a year to the date that this happened, the year before when we got that old man Ehrlich, the first one, when Billy grabbed him with the knife, there was a squad lieutenant named Rod DeRua. They said, oh, if they tried that shit with me, I'd do this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, be careful what you wish for. A week fucking, or a year later, here we go. And I'm setting it up around the phone call to my mom's. So Frank's got a hatchet and a knife too, and I got 2 knives and a hatchet. So I get this big hardcover book. I go rolling out the cubicle. They come to get me for a phone call. I ain't even handcuffed. I step out door and I break into a run and I jam the fucking front grill. It's an electric grill. So the hardcover book's a big atlas that'll stop it. Frank rolls out behind me, pulls a knife. There's 2 cops there, an Indian cop and a big white cop, about 450 pounds. Frank says, give me the fucking keys. And the Indian tells him, come and get him. Frank pulled out his hatchet. And the Indian seen the hatchet. He threw him the fucking keys. Well, I go out. I got a hatchet in my belt and a knife in my belt and my pants. I got a knife in my teeth. And I come hopping over the railing like a pirate to the top fucking floor, because I'm in a sunken floor on the tier. You got to go down steps to go down to it. I come over the railing, go run and pull the knife out. Who's sitting at this? Is the cop's day room. There's only 1 cop in it. Who's sitting at the motherfucking table eating a sloppy Joe? Oh, the old squad lieutenant, Rod DeRue. I pull out the knife. I tell him, let's go, Drew. He looked at me, dropped his sloppy Joe, jumped straight to a tent, said, yes, sir, John. And he started marching. I marched him down the steps. and there's this real steep fucking stairwell. It's almost like a ladder going down into like this little area where they got a big sink down there and shit that the cops use. I tell him, give me your fucking utility belt. I get his utility belt strap, and I got his radio, all that. I take his handcuffs. I tell him, turn around. Turns around. I cuff him to this pole that's hanging down this stairway. So he's like bent over, kind of hanging from a pole. And I go and see Frank. He's got the other two cops in our cells in the cubicle. I told him, let's go. I grabbed the radio, the fucking walkie-talkie says Unit 3, and I used to listen to them when they were calling in. So I hit the button. I says, Unit 3 to base. He says, base here. I said, this Gresham, you punk motherfuckers, we just did it again. And they wouldn't answer me no more. So now I'm cussing them out on all the frequencies, them and the highway patrol stuff. We're tying the door shut, jamming the locks, barricading shit up, hanging shit on the windows so snipers can't get us, right? We let the Indians out, and all of a sudden I see all these cops coming with guns. They got shotguns, 30-30s, and all. I can see them through a little ad-sake visiting thing through the windows. And Baby Eskimo's out there, and they know he's crazy. He's got a big old knife. And I see him. I told him, you want to shoot something? Shoot me, motherfucker. And Captain Murphy's right there. He's saying, no, be cool, John, be cool. And I told Baby Eskimo, I said, listen, man, you hear one gunshot, throw Daru's head out. He says, you got it, McGill. And Captain said, no, goddamn, John. He tells him, get them motherfucking guns out of here. So they ran the guns out. So now we got everything, all the doors jammed up. Now, all this shit's in the newspaper. It's got to be in the newspaper. St. Paul Pioneer Press and Minneapolis Star and Tribune in 73 and 74, especially the 74 one or 73 one. 73 and 74. It's got to be all there. It's got to show a big picture where what we did was the guy in the control center. The first time we did it, the lieutenant slammed the door. Well, there's a trap door in the floor there too. This cop hit the emergency button, the alarms, opened the trap door, fell down, landed on his head, climbed back up the ladder, pulled it through a bolt, and secured so we couldn't get down the tunnel system with it. And we found a stand-up fan. We screwed the top off it, screwed the bottom plate off it. It's about 4 inches wide, about 5 inches long. It's like a big giant Louisville slugger. We just beat our way and burned our way through the fucking blast, the bulletproof blast, into the control center. We got everything but firearms. I got helmets on, gas masks. I got all their fucking gas grenades, mace. I got all their keys in my belts. I got grenades hanging off my hips. I'm talking shit. So, we fucking ripped the drinking fountain out again. It's shooting water off the ceiling. So the Commissioner of Corrections there, Dr. David Fogel, Bruce McManus, the warden, A.W. Alexander, Captain Murphy, a whole bunch of the squad and all them there. They bring in Mad Dog, my partner from the fucking main line. He's coming in and he's saying, John, they're going to kill you, John. I said, I ain't going to fuck that. They ain't going to kill nothing. We got some issues down here. They're trying to charge us with the fucking attempted murder, cutting the fucking farmer's throat and robbing them. And that ain't really what happened. We're going through this shit. And then I got tripping about all the times they gassed us. I looked at Frank. I told him, put your mask down. I got this really nice fucking gas mask. It's like a scuba diver's mask. It's got a big black hose that goes to a red canister on my hip. The other ones are them little Ant-Man masks. Them things are fucked up. At Marion, when we fucking broke out of the cells and the control unit went through the vents, me and Clay found, we got all their riot gear. We was banging with them back there. You can't even breathe in them fucking things. But this one I got is real good. So anyhow, he puts it even before this happens, here comes Shaky, the big pharmacist, with all the fucking meds for the block. Frank robs him through the grill. Oh, everybody's standing right there, and Frank's down one side, pulls a knife out and tells Shaky, give me the fucking dope, Shaky. Shaky gave him everything. So Frank comes running over to me and hands me my packages of fucking medication. The floor's got maybe about 6 inches of motherfucking water on it. And I've been shooting dope and popping pills and smoking dope the whole weekend. I am fucking, twisted. And he hands it to me, and I pop a bunch of Valium, some Demerol in my mouth, and I'm looking around for some water. Ain't no water. The fucking where the pipe was at to the drinking fountain that got ripped out because the drinking fountain was laying in the corner. It's shooting water off the ceiling. So I just squat down, scoop up some water, and throw it in my mouth and swallow it. Frank told me later, he says, man, you had the Commissioner of Corrections warden all looking at you. You got this gas mask on the top of your fucking head on top of a helmet. You got all their gas bombs strapped to you. He said, you're popping pills, and they're looking like, oh my God, we got to negotiate with this fucking fool. So I come back, and that's when I got to looking around, and Mad Dog's right there. He's my buddy, but what the fuck are you doing now? what the fuck are you doing in here in the middle of these crisis negotiations? We got some issues, man. You know what this is. You were just out here a year ago with me. So anyhow, I told Frank, put your fucking mask down. He puts it down. I maced all of them. I had an aerosol can of mace. I maced them all. I maced Mad Dog too. I got the commissioner records. I go, oh.